Hi, welcome to the first episode of Deck Reviews with Hero. Totally first attempt. We're gonna do reviewing Joltik box, which play a hands on feature box, which utilizes Miraidon hands, a bunch of future Pokemon, hence the name Future Box. Pretty great. It's dominated the meta, I want to say closer to 2 years ago. Start off with, we have Joltik, then we have two Joltiks. It's handy because it lets you, for one energy, go up to 2 grass energies, and then once you do that, 2 electric energies. So you can set up Iron Hands, turn 2, potentially turn 3, however, whatever the order goes in the game. And you can do 120, and by second or third turn, a lot of times, your opponents aren't going to have enough to where they can live a attack that's 120, possibly 140 attack, not even counting super effectiveness, which equals out to 240, 280. It's pretty great. It's a great attack, especially if you can get it turn 2, turn 3 set up. Miraidon lets you even further have the chance of getting it set up early, as its ability lets you once per turn search up to 2 basic electric Pokemon, put them on your bench. Use it most commonly to go get a hands and a Joltik, or 2 hands, just whatever, go get, or even Pikachus, which are in this deck. We have one Genesect. As long as it has a tool attached to it, it stops all A-specs from being put into the playing field if they have not already. Like if you're playing against Dragapult, which runs Sparkling Crystal, it's a card that lets you use attack for 1 less. But you can then stop it from being played, causing your opponent to have another energy, or even stop them from playing Prime Catcher with a boss and a switch. But I'll get into that later. We have Ursaluna, Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. Ability lets you use its attack for 1 less energy. Example, if your opponent's taken 5 out of 6 prize cards, you can use it for free. Downside is you cannot attack next turn. You can circumvent that rule by switching it out of the active by use of item or supporter, and into the active again by free retreat, item or supporter. Then we have Iron Leaves EX. Once you play it from your hand to your bench, you can switch it to your active for a free switch and move your energies to it to be able to attack. 3 energies, 180, can't attack next turn. Oh well. Won't. But next we have Galvantula. Compound Eyes lets you do 50 as long as your opponent's active Pokemon has an ability. Before applying weakness and resistance. There's not a lot of cards that utilize resistance. Weaknesses is what is weak to bug, grass, whatever. So dark types, essentially. You have Pheasantipity, draw support if your Pokemon was knocked out by attack during your opponent's last turn. We have Mew, more draw support, Latias EX, which free retreat for all basics, pretty great. You only run 1 non-basic, which is Galvantula. We have Lily's Clefairy because Dragapult deserves to fall off. Essentially, its ability turns each of your opponent's dragon Pokemon's weakness into the Psychic archetype, which includes 4 other types, and apply the weakness as 2 times. So Clefairy can kill Dragapult, which is 320 HP if you have 5 and your opponent has 3 or 4 on the bench, because super effectiveness. Then we have 2 Pikachus. Its Resolute Heart ability lets it live a attack as long as it was at full HP. So if it was to be knocked out by an attack and in 1 shot, and it's at full health, it would basically self-revive and live at 10 HP instead of being knocked out. It's pretty great as a wall or a stall option, which makes sense why it's played in future Joltik box because of its electric typing pairs well with Maridon. And then into items, we start off with 2 Pokegears, top 7. You can find a supporter, put it in your hand. Does not automatically play it, so, but that's not a big issue. You only play 1 supporter per turn anyways. Earthen Vessel, discard 1 card, go up to 2 energies. Doesn't matter if it's a different 2 basic energies. Doesn't matter if it's the same type, different type. You don't even have to go for 2. You have Prime Catcher, like I mentioned earlier, is a boss and a switch at the same time. Brings up one of your opponent's Pokemon of your choosing, and you switch out your Pokemon at the same time. So you can switch out Ursaluna, bring up a weak Pokemon or a weakened EX to take 1 or 2. You have Super Rod, which you can use to go get a combination of 3 energy or Pokemon. So you can go get 2 energy, 1 Pokemon, or 1 energy, 2 Pokemon, 3 energy, 3 Pokemon, whatever. And shuffle them back into your deck. Now, we have 4 Nest Balls, basic, onto bench, automatically if you have the bench space. If you don't have the bench space, you can't play the card, which is kind of the downside of it compared to Ultra Ball. Well, its downside is that it can't be, you have to discard 2 cards to do it, which is kind of a double-edged sword because there's situations where you can't really afford to discard 2 cards to use it, but the Pokemon goes to your hand, not your bench, so it gives you a bit of leeway there instead of putting it into play when you don't want it to. For supporters, we have 1 Iono, 4 Boss's Orders. Boss's Orders lets you bring up your opponent's Pokemon of your choosing to stall, take out an easy Oko, which pairs well with hands because you can take the 2, any amount of prize cards, 1, 2, or 3, or even 4, depending. But that's like a weird amount of circumstances that you're probably ever going to reach in this game, or at least in this meta game. Crispin lets you go to 2 energy of 2 different typings. Attach 1 by the effect of a card, other goes to your hand. And then we have 4 Arven, which lets you go for an item and tool. So you can go for any combination like Nest Ball, Bravery Charm, Ultra Ball, Rescue Board, anything like that. Then, speaking of tools, for tools we have 1 Future Booster Energy Capsule. Bumps all attacks of future Pokemon up by 20, so 120 would be 140 before weakness, which would end up being like 280, something crazy like that. And also Free Retreat, which helps hands because of its abnormal and ugly for retreat costs. That sucks sometimes, coming from experience. Bravery Charms, basic Pokemon this is attached to, gets plus 50 HP, helps with Clefairy, who can be killed in 1 shot by Dragapult. It just bumps it up to 240, so it can be killed next turn or whatever, but at least prevents Oko. Then Rescue Ward have 1 less retreat cost, so turns 1 and 0, 2 and 1, etc. Can help alleviate retreat costs, although most will just run 1 or 2 at best. For energy, we have 5 basic electric energies, 5 basic grass energies, 2 psychic energies, and 2 metal energies. The metal and psychic energy are more or less Pokemon specific. You need 1 psychic for Clefairy as well as another energy. Then you need 1 metal and a grass and electric for Pikachu. So we have these to power up those Pokemon if needed. Like I said, situational. You don't ever really want to attack with Pikachu due to its attack doing 300, but you discard 3 energies. So you'd have to overload it on energies to be able to rapidly keep attacking The five grass and electric energies are handy because you can basically essentially let you go get the maximum energies off of Joltik if you have at least more than 2 in your deck at the time. But that is the wrap up of where's it at? Of Joltik box. Thank you for tuning in to this deck review.